Hello and welcome to another episode of Just Geeks. As usual, I'm Alex.
Jack.
And I'm Chuck.
And where the fuck is Hulk?
Language.
Sorry.
Okay, so today we'll be discussing the new movie, Avengers: Age of Ultron.
Spoiler alert, Quicksilver dies.
Okay, we'll be going through spoilers, our review of the movie, Easter eggs, and finally, theories. So,
Alright.
obviously, we started with one spoiler. Quicksilver dies.
R.I.P. in peace.
Dick.
Ultron dies. Well, that's kind of figured. You know.
Bad guy.
And we don't know where the fuck Hulk went.
Hulk kind of just disappeared at the end of the
He
movie.
kind of just like drove a plane into the... Well, the tracker went into the ocean, but we don't know where the plane is.
Well, where the Hulk is. Does nobody care about Hulk?
Not really.
No, he didn't have another movie.
Okay.
Plus, we got Red Hulk.
Oh,
Yeah, see at the end of Incredible Hulk.
Oh, female Hulk.
You're right.
She-Hulk.
Okay.
She-Hulk, yeah.
So essentially the movie revolves around Tony Stark, our good man, Iron Man, creating this program, the Ultron program, to
From the Infinity Stone.
yes, to essentially save the world and create a suit of armor around the world so that he no longer has to protect it himself, and the Avengers can cease to exist with the world protecting itself, essentially. And in that, he accidentally creates this psychopathic, robotic man named Ultron who wants to
Basically,
extinction,
basically
exterminate.
Stronger.
kill us,
Of
all of us.
all the humans he wants to kill.
Correct.
It's his evil plan.
Essentially, yes.
Like most villains.
Mm-hmm.
And with
and
the evil plan, he creates his Vision, which is also an Avenger
Called
Created-
Vision.
called Vision,
the Vision.
created from an Infinity Stone
Mind Gem.
from Loki's scepter.
Yeah, that's actually what was hidden in it. I always thought it was blue. Like, it glowed
Should've
blue.
been blue.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
And then-
Tesseract is probably blue.
And then Tesseract's the blue Infinity Stone.
it was a yellow stone encased in a blue.
I thought
So
that was
no
weird.
one would
Yeah.
know.
I think that was honestly something that Marvel did as like a switch around thing.
I
You
feel
know
like
what
that
I
was like last minute, like for this movie, they were like,
yeah, they were like deciding whether
Well-
or not that was the Mind Stone.
yeah, they were. Well, did control a couple people's minds.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
But,
that
like,
Makes sense.
I feel like they weren't sure if they wanted that one to be that or not, so they left it blue, and then they made it so that it was yellow encased in blue to fit this specific storyline. You know what I mean?
was anybody else upset that they cut off Loki's scene from the movie? Because Tom
Oh,
Hiddleston
not
was
really.
cast in the movie, and
he did film
film a
scenes, yeah.
with Idris Elba.
Idris
Oh.
Elba.
Idris Elba. I messed up his name. I messed up a lot of names, so we'll do that.
That was a 9.3.
Thank you.
And his scene was cut, but we will most likely be seeing him and the girl by the water in the
Girl by the Water in the next Thor movie.
The one
No,
in the trailer.
Right
in
now,
the
yeah.
the girl in the
The one in
trailer,
the trailer. Yeah.
in the DVD.
Oh,
That
yeah.
could be the special
DVD
edition
special
release.
features.
Yeah, that could be that.
Also, an alternate ending that we'll just have to wait to find out.
Correct.
Honestly, no, I didn't really care about that. Loki was cut out. I just didn't. He did his job at the end of Thor 2. I feel like they should have shown the fight between him and Odin, but they left that out. So whatever, their fault.
So, what do you guys rate the movie? I feel like.
I think overall, I thought it was freaking amazing. I think that they did a really good job developing the characters more. I really loved how they did what they did with Hawkeye. Just expanding.
finally, I liked Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Hawkeye.
By the end of the movie, I was like,
Hawkeye was
Hawkeye's a badass. Yeah.
Right?
And I hope he doesn't like make any appearances in movies because I feel like he's perfect the way he is.
Yeah.
And they
true.
could just like leave him out for like the next 3-4 movies, and then Infinity War bring him back.
At the end of the movie, he kind of did retire.
Yeah,
He did say this
A
was
little
be his
bit, yeah.
last mission, and then he would go back and he'd fix the house, and that would be it. So, could this be the end of Hawkeye?
no, I feel like they'll bring him on because fans like him.
Now they like him.
Now they like him.
If they didn't like him
now,
before, they'll like him now.
I liked him.
They'll need a call to action to bring him back into the fold.
which is what I feel like he'll be in Infinity War or Civil War.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure actually he's confirmed for Civil War, is he not?
I haven't.
I believe
heard
he
of-
was, yeah. Him and Black Widow were.
Black Widow was.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Anyway.
at the end, you also Age of Ultron. You also see Captain America developing his team which will
The
most
new
likely
Avengers.
be his
The
team
new Avengers, which
for Civil War.
did include Scarlet Witch, the Vision, and Falcon.
And War Machine.
Falcon,
And
War
the
Machine,
War Machine. Yeah.
and Black Widow, and
Widow.
Nick Fury was helping him out,
Yeah, he was also in the building.
and then Captain America, obviously.
Yo.
You didn't see anything about Iron Man's team, which makes me wonder, like, who would be on Iron Man's team?
Hulk, if he shows up.
They have a pretty intimate relationship.
They do.
Well,
Thor?
Iron Man didn't necessarily have his own team by the end of it. I think by the end of it, it's almost
Yeah.
like he wanted to retire.
That's
kinda
why
like at
I'm
the
just
end of the
wondering
third
for
one.
Civil War, who's going to be on his team?
Yeah.
Movie-wise. Ant-Man? Maybe.
There could be.
I
Some
think
Ant-Man.
Ant-Man and Hank Pym are going to be on opposite teams.
Maybe. Then Iron Man has literally no one. Iron Man has 0 people, unless they were
I mean,
to...
he's got Rhodey. That's
Yeah,
about
but he's-
it.
Black
War
Panther?
Machine's
We
on-
have Black
Oh, Black
Panther. We
Panther.
have Doctor Strange still coming up.
Yeah, but Doctor Strange will not be out before.
That's true. Because Civil War comes
Yeah.
out next year.
Yes.
2016.
And we're going to see Doctor Strange first in Iron
November.
Fists on Netflix.
Oh, for real?
Yeah,
I did not know that. I didn't know that. I'm sorry.
they did say that. It's
What?
fine, Danny. You're not.
I'm confused.
I give the movie a good 7.5 out of 10.
You do?
It did a great job. The character progression was great. The action was great. The villain was a bit weak.
I feel
To
like
my
that he made him
standards-
way too human. And the thing that really bothered me is his face moved. His
Face,
lower
the
half of his
lips.
face, he had
The lips.
lips, he had everything that was moving, and it bothered me. Like, seriously bothered me.
You know, I liked the look personally. I liked his vibranium body. Was pretty
That was,
awesome
like,
when he just
whoa.
ripped his old self in half.
He looked like a chunky self.
He did.
Yeah.
He looked chunky. Even Iron Man mentioned that. He's like, hey, you've been packing on some pounds.
That was quite funny.
I did like the trailer made him seem like a lot like darker and creepier.
Yeah, I
than he
wish he
actually
would've
was.
done it.
Yeah.
And he was singing Pinocchio. Like,
Yeah.
in the trailer, you hear the Pinocchio music in the background.
But now I'm free.
Yeah,
it was a darker version
and I
of the
feel
song.
like-
Yeah.
And in the movie, it was kind of bright.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
the same. I think, like, when he's shooting everybody or at people in the plane, he's singing the exact song like it's played in Pinocchio. I think it
Oh,
would have been
yeah.
better if he was just, like, humming it. If he was just, like, slowly humming it, that'd be better. If he was just like,
It would make him more diabolical.
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like that would have been a lot cooler.
Oh.
But that's just my opinion.
He's definitely a lot more like, I don't know,
Human.
like human, like childish, sort of. Like they portrayed him as more childish than I thought he would be.
Yeah.
I kind of like that though, because I feel like that embodied Tony Stark's like his part in Ultron's creation really well. You know what I mean? Like the fact that he was in a child in an adult robot
Yeah.
body is what made him so much like Tony Stark and so much like a counterpart of Tony Stark, or like a rogue version of Tony Stark, and I think that was awesome.
And the Vision being his counterpart, which is the good side that wants to keep the peace.
Exactly.
Another big thing that happens is there's no post-credit scene. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, don't spend your time waiting till after.
There's
But
just
there is a mid-credit
A
scene.
tag, if you will.
It is, you pretty much see an Infinity Gauntlet without any gems, Thanos putting his hand in it and saying, fine, I'll do it myself. Which I figured was coming because Josh Brolin was cast in the movie.
He was cast back in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, and then he was also cast, they said he would make an appearance in this movie. So I was just waiting for it. And my question originally was, in Thor, quickly you see, it doesn't say that it's in Asgard, but you see a collection of things. And one thing is the Infinity Gauntlet with stones in it.
Back in Thor 1. Yeah.
Back in the first Thor. So my original question was, how did both those exist? Was it Josh Whedon? Or somebody clarified and said that
I believe it was just confirmed, yeah.
a couple of days ago that there are 2 Infinity Gauntlets in the universe, which makes sense because people have 2 hands. You know, normal
What?
people, unless you're
Whoa.
in Phase 2 Marvel movies, you have 2 hands.
Oh,
Ooh,
Well,
Phase 2 Marvel movies.
Can you hold?
That brings us on some.
What? I don't mean to cut you off.
We can hold off
Jessica.
on this. We can
Just,
hold off.
We'll come back.
Yeah, I thought it was weird that he had the. Okay, yeah, I lost my train of thought.
All right.
Continue for your Marvel
Well-
movies too.
Your joke, the obvious, funny Marvel Phase 2. No one noticed throughout all the Phase 2 movies, and this will be included in Ant-Man, hopefully, since it is considered Phase 2 movie. Someone loses a limb, an arm, as a tribute to Star Wars, because Disney
Right
just,
before the Phase 2, you
yeah.
see Speaking of, it is National Star Wars Day, May 4th.
May the 4th be with you all.
Also, Cinco de Cuatro for any Arrested Development fans out there.
They gotta get them back to work.
But the Phase 2...
That's what it is.
Is that? Do they say that?
Yeah,
That's horrible.
they pretty much don't want.
I'm a little offended. Not that I'm Mexican, because I'm not. But
Yeah, you German person.
Minority. Yeah.
all right. Okay.
Anywho,
You gotta watch the show to figure it out.
That's fair.
It's like in the first episode they explained it.
Oh yeah. Okay.
the Phase 2, the Star Wars tribute, starting off with the first Phase 2 movie was Iron Man 3. The main villain,
What's his name? Why can't I
Killian.
Killian. Yeah,
Killian
his
Aldrich.
arm
Aldrich
gets cut
Killian.
off. Yeah,
Yeah,
Iron
at
Man
the
cuts his
end.
arm off at the end.
The Mandarin.
The real Mandarin.
No, not the real Mandarin.
Bullshit.
You have
Language.
you have if I don't know if
It's a
anybody
Marvel
watched
one-shot.
Marvel One Shot All Hail the King. It's pretty much in prison what the Mandarin Ben Kingsley is doing, and he's just pretty much like an actor in prison, and he thinks he's the best. People come and say that he stole the Mandarin's thing, and the Mandarin wants his name back, and then they kill him.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
which makes us believe that there is a real Mandarin out there.
Yo, guys.
Oh wait, who else did you want to continue?
Well, yeah, in Guardians of the Galaxy, Gamora cuts Groot's arms off, both of them.
Yes.
Captain America 2, Winter Soldier, is kind of obvious. Bucky loses an arm.
But you don't see it happen. You just see it
Yeah,
being
There was a
dragged.
flashback.
Yeah, you
There
just
was
see
a
him
flashback
being
of
dragged
him
away.
Being dragged away, and his arm with the
Was-
blood is on the floor.
Yeah.
Um,
And then
and Thor, Thor.
Thor gets-
Holographic Thor. Projection from Loki. His arm gets cut off.
yes, and then finally you have
If you notice though, in Thor, his arm looked like he got cut off with a lightsaber. It looked like it was severed.
Yeah,
by a
it looked like it was. It looked like a
with,
cheese. It looked like a strawberry cheesecake.
It did.
Like
Just
it did
like
in,
any-
in the prequels.
yeah.
In the prequels, it looked like a strawberry cheesecake when you sliced his shit off.
And then you have
In Age of Ultron, you have Claw
losing an arm, which
losing an arm.
actually works for his appearance in Black Panther.
Yeah.
Which hopefully it has, because Ulysses Claw has direct ties to Black Panther, and Black Panther's tribe called what's his tribe called?
I mean, he lives in Wakanda.
Yeah, the Wakandan tribe that Black Panther's part of.
The Wakanda tribe.
Yeah.
Tribe.
I'm sorry for our political incorrectness, but that's pretty much all we have.
Yup.
That's
And
all
then-
we have to go off. Yeah.
In the comics, he has a supersonic,
It's a sonic cannon. Yeah, but in this one, it'll be made of vibranium.
hopefully.
Probably.
He has a lot of vibranium.
That's very true.
And a lot of money now that Ultron transferred like half the world's funds into his bank account.
Very true. He's a rich man. He can do anything he wants.
You know, all that vibranium, and they made
He
Frisbee.
made a frisbee.
Joke on Captain America's.
Shield.
Speaking of S.H.I.E.L.D., a flashback in the very beginning of the movie, not a flashback, a vision was shown by Tony Stark.
Stark.
Tony Stark, yes.
That's his little brother.
Scarlet Witch put it in his mind, and she saw the future of, it was Cap's broken shield.
Which is a direct tie to Infinity War?
The comics, yes.
Yes, where you see Captain America's shield.
Correct.
Yeah.
That made me think Captain America was going to die, because you told me someone dies.
Yes.
And I thought the whole time it's going to be Captain America. The trailer
No,
showed
Captain
it's
America's definitely going to die.
It was
during
Quicksilver.
It's Quicksilver.
Yes.
He's definitely. Which? Do you want to go on your? Is Quicksilver really dead?
Yeah, I guess so.
We'll jump it
theory
around.
we have is Quicksilver is still alive. Somehow. And I actually have two theories about this. The first one is he's very similar to Wolverine in many ways.
Not in
As
many ways.
Just one way. Is
Well,
that-
he's a mutant technically in the
Technically,
comics.
He's an enhanced.
No,
human.
in the comics he's a
Yeah.
mutant.
In the comics, he is.
But
Does
they
he have a
can't-
healing factor though?
He has a very high metabolism, which
Yes,
stated
which
in
is
the
the
very
same
beginning of the
thing.
movie, which is the same thing Wolverine had, which
Uh,
allowed him to have healing abilities.
Yeah, like
So-
Flash has the same thing where he can heal,
The fleas.
Yeah.
They blow up the city, though.
but
They
his
do.
body's dragged out.
Yeah, they took
In the
him with
beginning
them.
of the fight, he was shot by one of the officers. And
Yeah.
he kind of just looked at it and,
and then
shrugged
he
it off.
looked at the person. He's like, "Come on, man!" And then he sped off.
Yeah, you sped
So
off.
it made him seem like being shot didn't really do a lot to him.
Yeah, and you didn't really see anything like that affected it later on in the fight.
Roger.
Thank you.
And later on in the film, when he was supposedly dead, killed by Ultron, they show him being put in a body bag and it being zipped up, and he's never mentioned for the rest of the movie.
That's true.
Not even by his sister.
You might have Tony Stark take a hold of him, feel bad because of the bomb that fell by them. They go into their backstory, which is pretty much the Maximoff twins didn't have any superpowers until bombings happened to the building they were living in. Parents died, and both the twins were trapped under rubble, and next to them landed a Stark bomb that didn't explode, and they were there for 3 days?
Yeah, it was like 2 or 3
It was
days.
like, yeah,
2 or 3 days, and the whole time they hated it, and afterwards
They volunteered to get experiments.
they volunteered. Very similar to Captain America.
Yeah.
And that's why Ultron sought them out, because
Yeah.
they had a mutual hatred for Tony Stark.
Mm-hmm.
The second theory being the pod that they used to create the Vision in. It wasn't technically destroyed. It was probably damaged by Thor's lightning and the
But they had a
explosion.
couple of different things. She had the one in Stark Tower. Do you want to explain what it is? Does anyone want to explain
The
what?
cradle?
Yeah.
I mean, essentially, it was like a tanning booth that would create artificial tissue that was very versatile and could essentially adapt to any other tissue.
And you wouldn't
In your
leave any
body.
marks or
Yeah.
anything.
See, in the beginning of the movie, Hawkeye was shot by a Hydra gun. I
Yeah.
guess, the plasma gun or something. And so he was injured in his side. And then later on in the movie, when they were having a party before the party, it was showing him being put back together, for lack of better terms.
Yeah.
So that could play into a role of bringing him back if he's in a kind of a slumber mode, so to speak.
I wish you were right when they said that they killed Thor. Not that I'm not a Thor fan. I am a Thor fan. But
He
you
hates
had the-
Thor.
obviously. But you had this really cool theory about how Thor is going to die and how they're going to play out through the rest of the things. I don't know if you want to give that.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, it's not true anymore, but it was just a cool thing to think about.
Shit, dude.
Sorry for the inconvenience. Jamie, do you want to continue your theory about
So
Thor?
my theory was that I thought that Thor was gonna die, right? I thought Thor was gonna be the one that dies because in the Civil War comic book, Thor's the one that's actually dead. And I thought what was gonna happen is that Thor was gonna die. He was gonna go into a Asgardian afterlife. I think it's called Hela or Hell. I think it's
Yeah.
Hell with one L.
Yeah, which is mentioned.
Yeah, exactly.
They do mention it.
So I thought that Thor was going to go into that afterlife, where that afterlife, essentially, all the warriors that go to that afterlife are special warriors, the best warriors that have ever lived in Asgardian history. And on the day of Ragnarok, the apocalypse, the Asgardian apocalypse,
Which is the name of the third Thor movie.
3.
Yeah.
I don't know how, but somehow the Asgardians take all the warriors that are in that afterlife and bring them back.
You said
But,
something
like-
about Loki. Loki seeing
Yeah.
the impending doom, saying, "Holy crap, I have to do something."
And he needs Thor, who is in that afterlife. So he takes all the
Because they
best
didn't
warriors
leave on
that-
bad terms. They left on pretty good terms,
Yeah.
Thor and Loki.
Thor believes Loki's dead.
Yeah.
So
But Loki's likes
Odin.
Thor, which is why
Yeah.
was as Odin, and he was like, I give you permission to do whatever that you want. But I think that also was kind of just to get him out of Asgard.
True,
Yeah.
true. So yeah, I thought that that's what was going to happen, and then for Thor Ragnarok was going to start with Ragnarok starting to attack the Asgardians and Loki going, "Holy crap! I need Thor back, like to help with all this, along
Or
with all
just the
the
greatest, like,
all the warriors that are meant to fight Ragnarok." And that. So yeah,
That would have been cool.
right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that have been sick?
Yeah.
Because that way, that would be the perfect excuse for him not to be in Civil War.
Yeah, but in the comics, don't they have, like, Robot Thor?
Yeah, that's the thing too. The robot Thor's name is Ragnarok.
Oh,
The Thor clone.
yeah.
Its name is Ragnarok. I'm pretty sure. I'm like 46% sure.
Well, that's not pretty sure.
Better
That's
than
1.5% sure.
Better than
hello.
45.
It's better than 45, but less than 50.
I thought it was worse.
So yeah.
Another Easter egg we found was the missing persons. I think
That-
it was said by
Falcon.
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 Mentioned, yeah. Falcon.
They
mentioned
mentioned that he would have been busy, or he doesn't mind because he's just been.
Oh yeah, he said he didn't mind missing out on the fighting because he's happy chasing cold leads on their missing persons case.
which, as we know from Captain America: Winter Soldier, is the Winter Soldier Bucky.
Who will come back? Who is Sebastian Shaw?
Eventually, Stan.
Sa-
Sebastian Stan.
Sebastian Stan.
Stan?
Yeah.
Who's Master Shaw?
Much older.
Shaw's from X-Men First Class.
Yeah.
Oh,
the guy
okay.
who gets the coin shoved through his head.
Yeah. He is signed on for a total of, or he was signed on for a total of 9. And so, yeah, so far he's only done 2. And I feel like it'd be stupid without, like, doing, like, at least 2 more movies.
Yeah.
Which he might appear in Civil War. And then I feel that Captain America's going to die in Civil War by crossbones at the end. Which then you'd have, for Infinity War Part 1, you'd have Bucky being Captain America. And then Part 2 somehow bringing him back.
Yeah.
Also, they said a big problem that's going to be relevant in the rest of the Marvel movies is Iron Man keep telling everyone that he's going to quit, but being addicted to wearing the Iron Man suit and just having to put it back on, which is why he's going to come back in Civil War, even though he said, I'm done with it, and then he'll come back for Infinity War and any other Marvel movies. Spider-Man, hopefully.
Yeah, that's actually one of the problems that I had with Age of Ultron, though, at the beginning, because at the end of Iron Man 3, Iron Man is like, he's done.
Blows up.
Yeah, which is why he
all the
takes the
suits.
thing out of his chest.
Yeah, and he's done being Iron Man. Like, that's what Iron Man 3 ends with him, like, retiring, and then
But he
within the
takes
first 30
Jarvis
seconds.
back.
Yeah.
He takes him, assuming, to the Star Tower.
Yeah, but that's
Avengers
like
style,
Jarvis,
right?
though. That's been part of his license before.
Yeah.
No,
Before he was Iron Man.
Yeah. With
That was
that-
created after...
No, Jarvis is
It was
Jarvis.
in the house.
Jarvis was a real person.
He was in the
butler.
house.
He was the Alfred. He was
But like the AI version of Jarvis
the AI version has been
was there before Iron Man
Yeah.
was. And that's the thing. How then in the first 30 seconds of Age of Ultron,
You see
he's Iron Man again. Like, and they don't even mention it.
That's very true. Yeah.
They don't bring up anything. They don't say, "Oh yeah, like I decided to come back" or anything.
And
like
he
that.
does bring that up later.
Does he?
No, I'm sorry. I'm thinking about the first Avengers when he's talking with Hulk, Bruce Banner. The thing in his
Oh
chest.
yeah.
When he's trying to provoke him into turning into Hulk.
Yeah.
They really need it to survive.
What's your thing? Pilates, huge bag of weed.
Yeah.
That's probably my favorite line.
I miss him with the...
Yeah, I feel like
Thing
it's such
is-
a big part of that character.
Like, in the movie universe. Does he have it in the comics?
I don't know.
I think he...
I'm no doubt. I don't. That's
Yeah.
like something you should notice, but I don't.
I feel like that's another thing for another time.
Yeah, dude, I don't know. That's a good question. Because I know that, eventually when he makes the Extremis armor is part of his body,
Yeah.
but I don't think he still has the arc reactor on him at that point. Because I remember seeing, panels where it's just like the full metal undersuit that he has, and I'm pretty sure his chest is there.
Yeah. I want to look that up.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of the armors, we have Veronica.
Veronica,
Yeah, on Friday, the new
the new AI.
Yeah.
The Irish
Yeah.
one.
and we have one more, didn't we?
Jocasta?
Yeah, that's it.
Jocasta was another AI.
This is just a picture of Tony Stark with the thing in his chest.
In the
Okay.
comics.
Yeah,
he does
comics.
have
He
it.
does.
Okay.
At least for part of it. I don't
Yeah.
think for all of it.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, no. Friday was. Is Friday the one in that Ultron makes wants
No,
to
that's
become?
Jocasta. Yeah. Friday was the new
Jocasta.
AI.
And then, but which is the one that that Ultron wanted as his wife?
Jocasta.
Was that Jocasta?
Yeah, that was the.
Yeah. So Ultron makes essentially a bride for himself.
And that was actually a chip that we see Tony Stark cast away into the pile.
In the background.
Yeah.
For sure.
As he's plugging
Sure.
in Friday.
Yes.
Another Easter egg that I'm pretty sure it was an Easter egg was when they were all at Hawkeye's house in the little cabin, and Nick Fury had
Furry?
came up-
Nick Furry? Nick Furry? He's not angry anymore. He's just really angry. He just grew an afro, now he's furry.
He's like a chinchilla with an eye patch.
He went back to his Pulp Fiction days. Anywho, they're all gathered around the house, and on the right side of the little counter in Hawkeye's kitchen is a blue bag, which got me thinking, is that a Doritos bag? A blue Doritos bag with Captain America on it.
Yeah.
Speaking of, the reason why I really didn't like this movie, first off, the beginning of it, and these guys disagree with me, is that to me, and you guys are welcome to have your opinion, but it seemed too much like a video game. It seemed too much like a video game. And the other thing that really bothered me is it was just product placement and advertising, one after another. They focused in on the Under Armour several times. You have the Doritos. You had Gillette being focused, Beats, which is obvious.
Yeah.
Then you had every time you saw Tony Stark show somebody something on the tablet, it just cut off after the Samsung logo, and that really bothered me. How they would just drop. There were a couple other ones, but I'm forgetting now. But they just kept dropping like all these.
Well,
and
I mean, it's marketing, so I mean, they're helping support them properly.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, yeah, they have to pay a ton of money to get their
Doritos,
stuff
Mountain
there.
Dew, Pepsi, not Mountain Dew. So,
But I don't know. It didn't bug me too much. Like I actually,
That bothered me because I kept noticing it, and I was like, "There's."
The only
see,
thing
I didn't even notice
really
it until you
noticed
mentioned
was
it the other
Beats.
day.
Beats was the only one I noticed.
I didn't notice Beats. I saw the Beats. I was like, ooh, headphones. What kind of music is he listening to? I also only noticed Adidas and Gillette.
Oh yeah,
that's all I noticed.
Switch
When he
over
goes-
shoes.
That was so obvious, though. He like
Yeah,
reached out.
but then Under Armour, as all of them were walking, you could see that they're always wearing Under Armour
Yeah.
stuff, and that bothered me. But then the Gillette one, I think, bothered me the most. It was like, here's Bruce Banner shaving with his Gillette razor.
I didn't
like-
even need to.
There
Right?
you go.
He didn't need a
Yeah,
shave,
That's true.
and they were
That's
just
true,
like
he didn't
focusing
need to.
time on him shaving. Like, this is like
When he could have had Black Widow in the shower with him.
right, and then and then when he's done, you see him rinse it off, which is like pointless, and then you see him put it right next to the Gillette shaving cream. Seriously, guys, like,
Yeah.
come on.
What you said about the beginning, I think I didn't mind it. I didn't think it was too much like a video game.
Yeah.
It reminded me of a lot of G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
As I
Oh.
said, because the Hydra,
Especially that opening
Shield, yeah, they're very much alike. The ending, however, when they were fighting all the Ultron bots, was where that got me. I think they were doing a couple 360 shots, slow motion, bringing back the original Avengers 360 shot. There was a lot going on, and that kind of distracted me in a way that
I don't know why.
Really
This is
good.
weird, but like the way they shot it, I thought it like went really smoothly. Like you could go like from each character to another.
Oh, in
See
the
that-
opening scene.
Yeah. Well, that too, and when
like,
they're when they're in the
yeah,
circle.
yeah.
Yeah, it was like one long shot where they
Yeah.
would just switch off from one character and like
Yeah.
follow them.
It was
really
cool,
well,
but
yeah.
I didn't like the amount of the bots. I think there was just too many of them, honestly, for me.
That would bother me.
But
Another
it-
thing
it's
bothered
a
me is they're all supposed to be kind of smart, and yet in the last fight where they're supposed to be guarding the Drell, they don't put any strategy. They're like, everyone just stand here and fight. No, what they should have done, put Vision, Tony Stark, Thor flying up, shooting people from above. Then you have Scarlet Witch, because she obviously has enough mind control to control everybody in the town to leave.
Yeah.
Put a shield around that, and still able to kind of like shoot, but like, well, mainly guarding this. And then you have Black Widow, Hulk, Captain America, Hawkeye.
Quicksilver as well.
Wait, them guarding points, like fighting off people, and then just Quicksilver because he can't really do anything standing in one position, just like running around
Yeah.
and fighting people. That would have been like so much better.
That's
I
actually
mean, it's
genius.
kind of what they
Right?
were doing.
I didn't
No,
think of any.
They
but
just
I
said
didn't-
everybody stand around this one thing and shoot as people come
I
in.
think the reason for that though was because they kind of like. I mean, they're like in the middle of action. You know what I mean?
But it's not quickly like, us three, flying, you protect that with the shield.
Yeah.
Quicksilver, do whatever the hell you want. And everybody else guard
You-
points.
Just run fast.
Do
What
Cool
are
thing,
they
right?
supposed to do?
He's fast and
punch
she's
the thing
weird.
of metal.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was a great line.
And I have a bow and arrow. Nothing makes sense.
Oh, yeah, that was one of my favorite
The
things.
city's flying. We're fighting an army of robots, and I have a bow and arrow. Nothing around here.
It happened.
I thought that was gonna happen to me. You know? I was doing this the whole time, and I was just scared that it was gonna happen to me.
Well, I was also playing with my legs of the chair.
Oh, yeah.
I was leaning back. So it was bound to happen. It was just like, when?
The movie did not feature, however, a loss of legs.
Legs.
Legs, just arms.
That's true. I guess.
Should there have been a loss of legs?
No, we were talking about
What?
the leg
Tribute to Star Wars.
Well, yeah.
But
and account.
I'm confused.
Darth
though.
Maul.
Darth Maul. Oh, Darth Maul. Yeah. Ultron could have lost his legs.
Oh.
Well, technically,
okay.
you got ripped in
Okay.
half at
All
one
right,
point.
I just got lost for a
We
second.
counted that as losing legs. All right. What else do we have?
Ultron wasn't that smart either.
He was kind of stupid, especially
Yeah.
being hooked up to the internet. That might have been
Yeah.
why, because he was
Well-
hooked up to the internet.
Yeah,
There's so many
viruses.
stupid people on the
Do you
internet.
believe everything you read on the
He
internet?
had some porn viruses running through him.
Ooh, that's not good at all.
We've all had those.
I forgot what. No, I saw. I was watching something on YouTube the other day, and somebody said something where Ultron just essentially got destroyed by the Hulk, like in the last like near the end of the scene. By the way, that scene was awesome, where you see Hulk jumping up into the plane, and you don't see Ultron, but you just hear him go for the love of God or something like that, and then Hulk just whips him out of the plane. But I heard somebody say that, like, what if Ultron had created some sort of collar to put around Bruce Banner that if whenever he started turning into the Hulk, it would just decapitate him.
That would be cool.
I feel like he'd be dead then.
It
Wow,
definitely
right?
that.
But wouldn't that be smart
He's
on
able
Ultron's
to
side?
control.
Wait, what? When was he? There was no collar put on.
No,
No,
I
it's a
know.
theory.
It's like something that somebody said. That I
Like
read
that would have been
somewhere.
good. That would have been cool.
Like that's genius. That's like the way to kill the Hulk.
But they say like at one point that he tries shooting himself in the
Yeah,
head and
Losing
everything.
your head's different then.
Yeah, because that's how you kill all the mutants that have the healing factor.
Wolverine,
Like Wolverine.
Deadpool.
No, they all put their heads back on.
Really?
Yeah.
Because in fuck, what movie was it? It was one of the X-Men. I think
Wolverine
it was
Origins.
Wolverine
Don't,
Origins.
we don't talk about that.
That one.
This
But-
is a completely different series. This is
It was that
This is
one.
Marvel.
It was that one
You have
X-Men
Deadpool
fan film.
put it on. You have Deadpool put it on
That's
back,
true.
back on it.
That's
Yeah.
true.
But what I think would happen is it like cut whenever like just a certain amount of length. So once he started growing, it'll turn in. He'll start growing, and then his skin will just become hard, and it'll break.
Yeah. I guess. I don't know. I still think it was a cool idea.
That's a cool idea, kind of like the Thor thing. Like
Yeah.
didn't
It's definitely
happen.
something. It's definitely something that I would try if I were a
Yeah.
villain against the Hulk, for sure.
He wasn't always angry in this film.
Yeah. I don't know, dude.
He was
I don't.
calm. They did a whole love storyline between Black Widow and Hulk that was just pointless.
I didn't like it at all.
It was
No.
stupid.
Like, I mean, when they're talking after he gets out of the shower and she says that he can't have kids and she can't have kids. I mean, that I kind of felt them kind of relate to each other.
Yeah, like they could have done like a little stuff like that, but like they spent way too much time. At least like a half an hour of the movie was just like
The scene at the
Ooh.
bar, I did not like.
Oh,
at
yeah.
all.
girls like dating guys.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't like. I mean, she's still a bitch.
there was a lot of like talking about how you feel, but then indirectly relating it to the guy, Bruce
Yeah.
Banner, but then not saying anything. It was
Yeah, I don't know. It's just a weird relationship.
very weird.
Another thing that bothered me is you have Tony Stark. I don't know if anybody who's watching this who hasn't seen the movie. A video or a clip was released for Comic-Con, and you pretty much just see Captain America and Iron Man or Tony Stark arguing while chopping wood, and then Captain America or Iron Man says something, and Captain America splits apart the wood with his hands. That would have been a perfect start for Civil War, and that was like up here with like anger, like I hate you, you hate me, blah blah blah. And then throughout the rest of the movie,
They kind of just walk away from each other.
yeah, they walked away, and then they started to feel like the anger that they had, just like all of a sudden is gone.
They kind of started bonding.
Yeah, and then they were like making jokes about who can hold Thor's hammer, because Vision does pick up Thor's hammer.
Yeah,
which
the elevator
was pretty
thing.
awesome.
Yeah.
The elevator's not worthy, by the way. It's not.
You have, I don't know, that kind of bothered me, where they're, at the end they're friends, and then Tony Stark's like, oh yeah, I just built this new Avengers thing. Hey, Captain America, dude who I hated in the middle of the movie, do you want to run this? Like, I felt like it was kind of stupid. It would have been a lot cooler if what happened was, you have them at the, them be angry at each other in the middle, and it kind of just like still be there, where they're like, all right, we have to work together to defeat Ultron, but this doesn't make us friends. Where they're like, maybe it goes down a little bit because they're telling each other what to do. Maybe Tony, like Captain America's like, Tony, go do this, and Tony was like, don't tell me what to do.
He does. He was really full of himself in the movie, especially when he brought up the point of him saving New York back in the Avengers.
Yeah.
Oh,
I brought the nuke through a wormhole into space.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then I would have liked it where they were like still like not friends, still arguing, and then at the end of the movie, it was pretty much just like Captain America and Iron Man talking, saying like, "You don't know what you're doing, like you don't know what you're doing." Them like kind of have a little fight, and then you see both of them in two different places. You would have seen Iron Man in his new Avengers headquarters talking to obviously people, and then you would have seen Captain America in a bunker talking to people, giving both similar speeches that would have set up Civil War nicely, like two different sides of the speeches, but at the same time, like cutting between the two, like panning down on the desk for Iron Man, then panning up for Tony, or for not Tony Stark, Captain America and stuff, and then at the end, the camera goes and spins around on both of them, and they're like, "So will you join us?" And you see both of their like teams for Civil War.
That would have been really cool.
That would have been like, if they did that, that would have been amazing.
But
That
as
would've
we
been-
said before, who's on Iron Man's team? Because
Iron Man has nobody at this point.
yeah, that's the only people that he could have is Black Panther, Ant-Man, maybe Thor, or Doctor Strange.
He could have Hawkeye.
Or Hulk. If Hulk
Yeah.
comes back.
I don't think Hulk's coming back.
I feel like Hawkeye is just done though.
I feel like
he wants to retire. He's with his family. He has a new kid now,
yeah.
but it's off books.
One thing about what you were saying though about how you didn't like that they ended up being friends, I think that's actually a good way to end it though, because now you know that they butt heads a lot, right?
Mhm.
So now, and each time that they butted heads, Cap's gotten more and more angry with him. And now that he did this, he created Ultron, almost destroyed the entire world again. He's like pissed about it, but yeah, then he lets it go. But that's the thing. Now I think that at the beginning of Civil War or whatever else, whatever causes Civil War is going to be like okay, last straw kind of thing for Captain America.
Even crazier, what they could do is they could set, which I think like is what they should do if they want to do. I still think I was telling them earlier that Civil War should be put into 2 separate movies because it's just that big of a storyline and you have so much stuff going on. But because they're not doing it and they're just doing it in one. So far that we know, we have a Captain America Civil War, maybe we'll have an Iron Man Civil War, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Which isn't like the same story from 2 different perspectives, but like first half of the story is Captain America, second half of the story is Iron Man. And you just see like from both their sides. Anyways, what was this thing? If they set it up in Ant-Man, like that's the only way I can think of it like working out.
Yeah.
Is if like stuff happens in Ant-Man and then like you see like the new Avengers talking and then like Iron Man being like, I don't agree with you guys. Like I think it should be this other way. And then they're like, no, this is how it should be. And he's like, I'm going to start my own team. You know? Like,
Yeah.
that's the only way I can see it really working out.
And honestly, that actually probably sounds like it's definitely plausible. I think that could happen, that they set it up in Ant-Man somehow, and then they start Civil War with the end of Ant-Man, or like...
A little bit afterwards,
Yeah.
after the teams are established.
What
Kind
I
of like...
hope they don't do is just go right into it like they did in this movie. They go into it. Iron Man was Iron Man again. They were all together as a team. They were
Yeah, but
fighting.
like, now they'd be 2 separate teams fighting. I feel like...
They shouldn't start that out with 2 separate teams already built out. They have
Yeah.
to have some backstory.
Which is why it could
Obviously,
work in
having them
Ant-Man.
together.
And then, my other thing is... Now, DC's doing a very similar thing, and I love DC, but I have faith in DC, and I'll give the reasons why. They're introducing way too many characters in Civil War. So far, introducing to the Marvel Universe, you have Black Panther introduced in Civil War, you have Spider-Man introduced in Civil War.
Maybe Spider-Man.
No, they
Oh,
said
he's gonna be in
Spider-Man.
Civil War.
Sure.
But it could just be, who knows if it's like an end scene sort of thing, or if he's going to be
That's
like
what I'm saying.
actually in the full movie.
I think he probably will. Plus, if they're trying to get more characters in, they'd have Daredevil from the Marvel show, which if anybody hasn't watched, should really check out because
I
it's
believe
so sick.
Punisher, right?
They could do
We hear
Punisher,
He's
Crossbones,
technically already in the universe.
He is,
from
yeah.
Captain
and he
America
has
2.
now a Netflix
Yep.
show that was
It's
announced.
like in production. Or
Yeah.
not production.
You
but
have so which characters did I say already?
Daredevil, Punisher,
Black Panther.
Black
Black
Panther,
Panther, Spider-Man, and then like the last character that they could do without pushing it, who hasn't been in any movies or anything yet, is Luke Cage. And after that, because Luke Cage, the production on their TV show already started, and when's it supposed to come out?
I think it's early next year.
Okay, so it'll come out
And
before.
Jessica Jones comes out this year.
Yeah, it'll come out before Civil War, so you'd be able to put the
That's
characters.
true. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, you could put those characters in, but other than that, like, and why I mentioned the DC earlier is because DC's doing a similar thing with Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice, where they're introducing a bunch of characters who haven't been in the world yet. But the reason why I think DC could work it is because where in Civil War they'll have big parts being on teams. Aquaman's rumored to only be in it for, I think, like, have a total of, like, 5 minutes of screen time. And that's, like, some of him talking, and the other of it is them going through a list of superhuman or metahumans.
Mhm.
And that could work, because they don't have a big part, they're just, like, cameos. Like, it's a bunch of cameos of, like,
Yeah.
Flash and everything. So the only major characters they're introducing, so far we know, is Batman and Wonder Woman, who will have a big part. Maybe Victor Stone as
Yeah.
Cyborg. They'll probably show Victor Stone becoming Cyborg. Or, like, some explosion happening in Star Labs, and then you see them working on it, and then at the end of the movie, him do it. And also at the same time, it's called Dawn of Justice, and they've released it's because it's going to lead up to the Justice League movie. And that's the, yes, and that's the only reason why I think it's working. like how DC can make it work.
Because the only movie that's come out before this is Man of Steel.
Yeah,
That's the only one before that. As
And-
with Avengers, we had Hulk, we had Iron Man, we had
Thor,
Captain America,
we had Thor, and then
Iron
they
Man
all
too.
Iron Man 2, yeah.
and they all came together.
Yeah.
So, and then in those movies, you also had Black Widow and Hawkeye.
Yeah, of course.
What do you think
Nick
they're going to do
Fury.
with Captain Marvel though?
Captain Marvel?
Because I think they wanted to introduce her for sure before her standalone
I don't think they'll do it in.
in Civil War.
I think they might. I don't know.
Because she was actually even supposed to be in Age of Ultron.
Was?
Yeah. They
But-
filmed that last scene that they filmed with where the new team is. You know, they filmed that so that they could put Captain Marvel in that scene later. So like Captain Marvel was supposed to be later like digitally put into that scene.
But they, at the same time, they don't want to introduce. They said it was James Gunn said he doesn't want her in what's it called, Guardians of the Galaxy 1 or 2, and at the same time, which I'm really mad about, he doesn't want Nova in any of the movies.
That's upsetting too.
Because I really like
I
Nova,
love
and Nova's
Nova.
a cool character, and you might not like the character, but you can still do. Going back to the DC, I believe Zack Snyder has said that he's more of a Superman fan than Batman, and I'm more of a Superman fan, and I wish Superman would win. But the truth is, Superman can't win, because if Superman wins, fans will riot.
I don't know.
Batman fans would.
Let's see,
Face it,
that's like-
everyone hated Man of Steel. I loved it.
I loved
thought
Man
it
of
was a
Steel.
great movie.
I loved it too.
It did a really good job, especially basing off the New 52 universe, where
Yeah.
Krypton isn't an ice planet, but it's just like a futuristic alien type of planet. Everything was very a New 52 feel. And personally, I'm a huge fan of the New 52 comics. If you haven't picked them up, you should totally check them out.
We could do a full video on DC stuff.
We're getting a bit off topic. Yeah, I mean, this was the Age of Ultron.
Do we have any more Age of Ultron things we want to talk about? We talked about leading into Civil War.
Yeah, so far we talked about spoilers, we talked review, Easter eggs, theories, possible, like more crossovers, introduction of characters.
Fun
What's
little
happening
thing.
next?
Last thing that I have to say is Infinity War. I don't know if anybody's heard this or not, but Infinity War Part 1 is supposed to be a whole new lineup. I told you guys, a whole new lineup of Avengers, just to see if this new Avengers, these new team of Avengers, can stand after everyone else moves away. Which is why I think Bucky Barnes is Captain America. You have hopefully Quicksilver will be returning, Scarlet Witch, Falcon, War Machine,
Vision.
You have those are pretty much it.
Possibly Ant-Man too.
Ant-Man. Sorry, this
Black
one.
Panther, Doctor
Black
Strange,
Panther, Doctor Strange. So they'll have
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
you'll have them in Infinity War Part 1, where they're just trying to test to see how it's going to work, and then fighting Ultron, and then apparently in Infinity War Part 2, you're going to have the old Avengers come back to help out, and the Guardians of the Galaxy,
Yeah.
which makes me believe that Hulk actually winds up in space through somehow, maybe, hopefully.
They left it
Trying
really
to-
wide open. Like I mean,
Yeah.
there could have been like an
Trying to
escape pod or
He
something.
could-
He
maybe
didn't
he
really want to
realized-
live.
Yeah, he really said he doesn't want to.
Yeah,
He
he
probably-
didn't really
He could have
want
jumped
to.
off the plane and somehow gotten past. the
Floated into
atmosphere.
space.
Yeah.
This would be really cool. Then and the Guardians of the Galaxy 2, they find him there. They pick him up, and he's like, and then they find out after they found out everything about Thanos, and they're like, we're actually going back to Terran because in Guardians of the Galaxy universe they call Earth Terran.
Yeah.
And so they say we're going back to Terran, and then he's like,
Although-
oh, I'm from Terran, and then they're like, Thanos is attacking, and he's like, oh, I should probably help out, which is why you'll have them also go.
I'm pretty sure that Kevin Feige said though that they're not going to have a full roster team up.
Yeah.
Like Guardians of the Galaxy, the full team isn't going to meet the full team of Avengers.
Well, I wouldn't be upset if like they left
It's just gonna be
Gamora
like,
and Drax.
yeah, I think Drax is the one. I think that they mentioned something about Drax being the one that's going to cross over.
No, David, what's his name?
Batista.
Batista said that he wants Drax to be in
Oh,
a crossover with the Avengers.
Okay.
But I think it'll be like everybody minus Gamora. Maybe I'm not a Gamora fan, so maybe she.
I feel like she would be
Dies.
there though because she's Thanos' daughter.
Yeah, maybe she dies in Guardians of the Galaxy
Oh,
too.
that's true.
Like they have a run in with
And
Thanos
her,
quickly, which is why he says like
her
I'm going
sister.
to
Karen Gillan, the actor.
Oh, Nebula.
Nebula. Yep, that's it.
when they say when he's like I'm going to destroy Earth, and then Star-Lord's like I'm from Earth. And that's how I
Great-
picture
that's a
people.
Great impersonation.
That's your impersonation for everyone.
Everyone but me. Everyone has just a super high pitched voice, and mine's like deep and manly. Anyways,
That's
you have
makes sense.
you have Thanos being like, I'm going to go attack Earth, and then they're being like, no, you're not, and then Gamora going to stop him, and he's just like, fuck you, Gamora. Dead.
Oh my
And then
god.
they're like, sad for a little bit, that they're like, well...
Star-Lord's gonna go insane then. He loves her. He's
Yeah,
gonna
which is why
go
he'd
crazy.
go to Earth to save
Oh,
Earth.
that
But
does
Guardians
kinda make sense.
2, I thought they were setting up to find
his
his
dad.
Yeah.
But how long did that take?
And who knows?
5
Maybe
minutes.
he'll.
I feel like
seek
it'll
him
be one of those things where like the movie will start with him trying to find him, and
Something
other,
will happen.
something else goes down, and then he has to get the team back together, or whatever. They get together, fix that, and then
Then
by
at
the
the
end
end,
of the movie, he figures it out.
so it could be like the middle thing could be the Thanos thing, and then at the end he finds out.
But like also, whatever happens during the middle is kind of like reflects his situation.
Yeah.
He's dead. You know what I mean?
Yeah, which would be Thanos, Gamora's dad, killing.
Yeah,
her.
exactly.
So it could
Something
be kind of
similar to
like,
that.
well, I don't want a relationship like this with my dad if it ever comes across. Then the team being like, you have to find your dad. Like, do it for Gamora because she wanted this. And
Yeah,
being
something like
okay.
Of course.
So I don't know if we have anything else to talk about.
I believe we touched on.
I'm pretty much set. Yeah, I think it was just as good as the first one.
I don't.
I think that the first one just had a lot more of that hype of that like
This
first
is the
time.
first time seeing anything like this.
But I think the movie did everything pretty much well. I mean, I had a lot of problems with it, but that was just really nitpicky stuff and like
Yeah.
Satisfied my needs, yeah.
yeah.
I mean, that was good. Because it leaked before it came out, but that's what happens when
And
you...
none of us watched it though.
None of us.
Jamie.
No.
That's what happens when you release it in another country beforehand.
I'm a victim.
I was a victim. I knew who died before because those stupid
Anyways,
other country foreigner people
world.
ruined it for me.
Anyways, I've heard mixed things about it, and then when I went in, even if I hear mixed things, I go in with an open mind, and then I really did enjoy it. So that was good. I actually went out with saying oh, that was an A+, that was an amazing movie. Then at the car ride, I went with my friend, and I was talking to him, and then everything kind of happened, and I was like, I give this a B, maybe lower end B, not a B minus, but just above, an 84%.
I would say 89.
You've seen it 3 times now. So of course you're going to be a fan of it.
Where I would give the first one a 96.
I give the first one low 90s.
I give the first
What
one
a
a
92.
96.
I'd give I'd give 91, 92. Man of Steel I'd toss up there. Top. Not 100, no.
Jack?
Yeah, I just feel like the second one had the first one had a lot more oh my god moments, but the second one didn't have that. When Vision picked up Thor's hammer, that was probably the biggest
That was
oh,
their reactions
that
were
was
so
priceless.
great. The fact that they paused the camera on everybody's reactions just to make everybody else get holy cow.
Well, actually, speaking of that, you have in the movie Black Widow says, I don't need to know if I'm worthy.
Right.
But
Oh, yeah.
in the comics, she's the only one out of the Avengers who actually is able to lift.
Captain America.
Although, yeah, Captain
No.
America does lift it up for a few moments, yeah. it
Yeah.
does,
And
you
the
know.
thing, you kind of see him do it, but in the comics, he holds it up, but he's not able to
Oh, really?
hold on to it. Yeah, he wields it for a little bit, but
Yeah.
stuff happens.
I love the part too where
You have-
where Vision swings it
Oh,
and he goes, "I like it. It's a very well balanced weapon." And Thor goes
No,
yeah,
he said it
it's-
was unbalanced. Or,
no, he said it was very nice,
No,
okay.
well balanced. And Thor was like, "If it's too heavy, then you lose all the power in the swing or something like that."
That was
Yeah.
hilarious.
Just in the middle of battle. I mean that too. That
I
could
also
be-
liked when Captain America turned it slightly and you went from Thor laughing to
Oh,
And
dude,
then afterwards he said, nothing. It did nothing.
all of Chris Hemsworth's lines in that
I
were
love-
supposed to be funny were so perfectly timed.
I am running out of things to say.
Yeah, there's that part, and then when him and Tony are arguing, and right before he walks away, he's like, "But Jane's better," and just
Oh,
turns
yeah,
around
like,
and
Jane's
leaves.
better.
That was great. Chris Hemsworth did a really good job.
Yeah.
They
I
all
think
do.
so. Yeah, for sure.
All right. Anything else?
I think that's pretty much it.
Favorite parts. Last thing. Favorite parts of the movie.
Odd.
I think we just kind of just touched upon it.
I can't do that. I can't
My-
pick
The
one.
part I freaked out was when Claw got his arm cut off. I didn't
That was
realize
cool.
it was the Star Wars tribute until after the movie, and I freaked out even more. But I saw it, and I'm like, he just got his arm cut off. He's going to be Claw. He is Claw.
Yeah.
And Ultron, too, he says, oh, I'm sorry, that's so fragile. I didn't know that. Oh, God, I'm sorry.
Oh.
That was funny. That was a good part on Ultron's part.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know, dude. I think honestly, I think some of my favorite parts, my favorite thing in the movie, I think, was Thor's comedic lines, and then Hawkeye's speech that he gives to Scarlet Witch when they're in the when they're in the house. because it was funny, it was motivational,
It was sad.
it was sad, it was emotional, it hit me.
And
Got
that's also where the brother sister thing comes in.
Yeah, true.
Do you have a favorite moment?
I probably have favorite moments, like when Vision picks up the hammer. That's up there. Probably
For the
number one.
first time.
The first time or the second time?
First time. Second time too. That's just, I don't know. That's just like I said. That's the biggest
That
I think-
speech that he gives, like right before
Oh, yeah.
he hands Thor the hammer, he's like, "So we have to go out there. Let's go."
Yeah. like doesn't think anything about
Yeah.
it.
I think my favorite part was when you at the end when you have, even though I didn't like Iron Man and Captain America being friendly at the end, you have Iron Man and Captain America saying like, "Well, if an elevator carries the hammer, it's not worthy."
Elevator's not worthy.
And I think that was just really comical. I was laughing pretty hard.
Thor takes off. That man has no care for lawn maintenance.
Oh yeah. Just destroys
So,
it.
yeah.
Sweet.
Oh, another thing, if none of you guys have seen the movie, and I probably shouldn't be saying this, and if you don't want to go see it in the movie theater,
Too bad.
movietube.cc.
That's illegal. Don't do that. Watch the movie. Pay for it. It's worth it.
But if you don't have the time and you don't want,
contribute to our Marvel Studios
Yes.
so they can continue to make billions of dollars while I make minimum wage.
Subway. That's Subway for you.
Less than minimum wage.
Yeah.
All right.
There we go.
Thank you very much for joining us for another episode of Just Geeks.
Tune in next time for
Whatever we talk about.
Whatever we talk about.
We're not sure. We're going episode by
Snakes.
episode. Snakes.
We're talking about snakes.
It's going to be about snakes.
I will
Yeah.
mention snakes.
Most
It's gonna be
likely
about
won't be
Jacks
about
and
snakes,
snakes.
but yeah.
My own
It
show.
can be about snakes.
You
We
never
could
know.
snakes on a plane. We could go back to
Snakes on a
Marvel
plane.
with
Samuel
Samuel
L.
Jackson.
Jackson.
We could go with Snake Plissken from Escape New York, Escape Los Angeles, which are amazing movies.
Or we can just not
Nick
talk
Fury
about
and the
snakes.
CIA.
Or we
days.
could not talk about snakes.
We could not talk about snakes.
Snakes.
Okay, bye.
Love you.
Oh.
Oh, good.
Want some help?
No, nigga, this nigga hot as fuck.
Language.
Yep. Especially that word.
Ugh. Do you want to give your real name?
Surprise! He is Mexican.
Oh, God.